Episode 56 ZS November 7, 2024. India doubles fines on stubble, burning amid Delhi's air pollution. In Episode 56 ZS 1 World 2 United States 3 California 4 Indiana 5 Iowa 6 Maryland 7 Minnesota 8 New York 9 Ohio 10 Oklahoma 11 Washington Seattle. RAWSEP View. The nicety promulgated by the wood-burning industry of determining whether wood that is burned is wet or dry matters little, because all wood burning emits at least 2.8 times the PM2.5 and CO2 as the fossil fuel coal burning. All wood burning emits at least 450 times the PM2.5 as the fossil fuel natural gas burning. From the article headline. In case you wondered too, fire across Puget Sound, West Seattle block. EPA states that wood smoke is 12 times more toxic than a cigarette. Not double. 12 times obviously trees are wood. And in controlled burns, the wood is not even dried out, so it is even more toxic and smoky. Even a controlled burn is massive air polluting event. 12A India. Indian government doubles fines on stubble, burning amid Delhi's air pollution. 13 PM2.5 and human health. Main content. 1A World. New York Times. Climate Forward. November 7, 2024. The COP29 United Nations Climate Change Conference in Baku, Azerbaijan, will convene world leaders and diplomats next week. Trump whiplash looms over global climate talks. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. World leaders from more than 100 countries gather next week at the United Nations Climate Conference in Baku, Azerbaijan, to discuss a rapidly warming world. But the main topic of conversation is likely to be President-elect Donald Trump. During his first term, Trump withdrew the United States from the Paris Climate Accord, promoted the expansion of fossil fuels, and renounced American leadership on environmental issues. Over the past 4 years, the Biden administration reversed course, rejoined the Paris Accord, invested heavily in renewable energy, and looked for ways to limit oil and gas production. Now, whiplash. The world is confronting a second Trump term. On the campaign trail, Trump continued to call climate change a hoax, said he would pull out of the Paris Accord again, pledged to expand oil and gas production and roll back pollution controls, and threatened to eliminate federal incentives that promote renewable energy and electric vehicles. All of this may make it less likely that other countries spend money combating climate change. How the world responds. World leaders have been girding for the return of Trump for months now, and many have pledged to keep working to reduce carbon dioxide emissions even without U.S. leadership. The election of Trump is a signal to other countries that the U.S. is dismissive of the economic opportunities of cleaner technologies. China may assume leadership of international efforts to address climate change. Some countries brace for what's to come, but many world leaders who are outspoken on climate efforts are welcoming Trump back to the Oval Office. What to watch for in Baku? At this year's COP, as the world adjusts to the United States' changing role. Climate finance. 2024 was supposed to be the year that the world figured out how to pour money. Estimates range from $100 billion a year to $1 trillion or more for climate mitigation and adaptation into the developing world. Will the momentum still be there? Country updates. Every nation at COP will be offering an update on their plans to reduce emissions. Overall, the world is falling short, according to a new UN report. Will any countries, especially India, China, or Brazil, ratchet up their ambition? Sideline diplomacy. COP is never just about climate. In addition to the next Trump presidency, attendees will also be talking about the wars in Ukraine and the Middle East. The conference starts early next week. 1B World. New York Times. Climate Forward. November 7, 2024. The Climate Fix. A big geothermal project moves forward. The problem. Decarbonizing the grid means moving away from fossil fuels, which currently make up 60% of utility-scale electricity generation in the United States. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. The Fix. Enhanced geothermal systems (EGS) are an extension of traditional geothermal energy that use hydraulic fracturing or fracking to make cracks in underground rock to access the Earth's heat as an energy source. Location avoids drilling problems, and they make fractures the way they want them. Using fracking techniques adapted from the oil and gas industry allows EGS to tap geothermal energy in a wider range of locations. Unlike wind and solar energy, geothermal systems can provide power 24 hours a day. Last month, the Bureau of Land Management approved a plan for an advanced geothermal project in Beaver County, Utah, by Fervo Energy, one of the more well-known startups deploying this technology. Fervo's approach is unique. After drilling thousands of feet deep underground, it then drills horizontally to access additional rock. Fervo's Utah plan aims to supply as much as 2 gigawatts worth of power starting in 2026, which is enough to power more than 2 million homes. The company recently started constructing the power plant infrastructure it will need to supply energy to customers. The obstacles. One long-time concern with geothermal energy is its potential to cause earthquakes, what scientists refer to as induced seismicity. Some of those earthquakes are so minor that they aren't felt by humans above ground, but in certain cases geothermal projects have caused significant damage. Fervo is monitoring seismic activity deep underground around its operations. If that activity surpasses certain thresholds, the company can halt operations. Another big obstacle these projects face is access to the electrical grid. In Utah, Fervo chose a location where it will have access to existing transmission lines. Geothermal can also be costly. Fervo has lowered both drilling costs and the time it takes to drill for a geothermal project by 70%. Environmentalists, the federal government and others have also expressed concerns about geothermal projects negatively affecting air quality, water resources, and hot springs. Fervo is planning for the second phase of its Utah project to be running by 2028. Geothermal energy last year only accounted for 0.4% of the country's electricity, but there are hopes that the geothermal industry would make up 1% of America's electricity generation by 2030. 1C World. New York Times. Climate Forward. November 7, 2024. The 2024 temperatures are on track for a record high, researchers find. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. This year will almost certainly be the hottest year on record, beating the high set in 2023, researchers announced on Wednesday. The assessment by the Copernicus Climate Change Service, the European Union agency that monitors global warming, also forecast that 2024 would be the first calendar year in which global temperatures consistently rose 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. That's the temperature threshold that countries agreed, in the Paris Agreement, that the planet should avoid crossing. Beyond that amount of warming, scientists say, the Earth will face irreversible damage. 1D World. New York Times. Climate Forward. November 7, 2024. The world isn't spending nearly enough to adapt to climate shocks, UN says. A United Nations group on Thursday warned in a new report that developing nations need hundreds of billions of dollars per year in aid to adapt to a warming planet. Excerpts edited by RAWSEP for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. With temperatures on the rise, many more countries are trying to protect themselves from heat waves, floods, and other climate shocks, according to the report from the UN Environment Program. At least 171 countries now have at least one national climate adaptation plan in place. But those efforts are underfunded, particularly in poor countries. While wealthy nations provided $28 billion in aid for climate adaptation in 2022, the report estimates that developing nations need between $187 billion and $359 billion annually in additional funding to cope with climate change disasters. 2A United States. RAWSEP View. Planting trees does not decrease PM2.5 from wood burning. Trees hold their breath as humans do by closing their pores in the presence of PM2.5, and trees decrease their level of photosynthesis in the presence of PM2.5. Trees absorb PM2.5 at about the level of laying a blanket on a forest floor. What is photosynthesis, you ask? Tree absorbs some CO2 through photosynthesis when they absorb CO2 and emit O2. From the article headline, Residential greenness, here RAWSEP assumes they mean increased tree planting, often in the place of a cut down and burn tree, linked to lower risk of depression and anxiety. RAWSEP View. Just don't cut down trees and burn them to begin with. Signpost. To explore possible pathways by which greenness might influence mental health, the researchers examined air quality variables, such as levels of PM2.5. 2B United States. RAWSEP View. Read it and weep. Also, your weeping will be interrupted frequently with coughing and watery eyes from the PM2.5 and the smoke, signaling future health problems, not 100% from emotion. Hefty profits are what keeps the wood-burning industry feeding the affluent urban fans of the fad, fashion, and folly of wood-burning their daily pap. From the article headline, Firewood processor market to reach $315.6 million by 2034, growing at 2.1% CAGR. Globe Newswire. The growing trend and appeal of outdoor cooking, particularly with wood-fired smokers and grills, as well as outdoor activities including camping. 3A California San Diego. RAWSEP View. It appears the general point here is that people who venture outdoors are vulnerable to wildfire smoke. The standard advice is to stay inside sealed homes with multiple air purifiers running. That is the same advice given to near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners who should also have recourse to shutting down indoor residential wood burning that produces the same conditions as wildfires. From the article headline, unhoused people are highly vulnerable to wildfire smoke. You see San Diego today. Wildfire smoke plume from Woolsey Fire. The Woolsey Fire was a Lauren Fimbres woodland wood at ucsd.edu. November 6, 2024. 3B California Southern, the mountain wildfire. Wildfire tears through Southern California community after burning dozens of homes. WODTV. The mountain fire was burning in a region that has seen some of. Fast-moving mountain fire torched 14,000 acres in a matter of hours. News radio with 1300 and 106.9 FM iHeart. The mountain fire is one of several wildfires currently burning in California. Would FM Public Inspection File, would FM Political File, EO Public. 3C California. Valley residents urged to curb wood burning. RAWSEP View. Please ask the Valley residents to stop wood burning permanently, since the health effects of wood burning are unfortunately usually permanent. Mid-Valley Times. PM2.5 stands for particulate matter 2.5 microns and smaller. According to the California Air Resources Board, airborne particulate matter is a mixture. 3D California Vineyards. RAWSEP View. This could have been avoided by not burning wood to begin with. From the article headline, using sensory and instrumental analysis to assess the impact of grape smoke exposure on nature. This study is an investigation of the impact of volatile phenols VPs released from burning wood during wildfires on grape composition and the 4 Indiana Terre Haute. RAWSEP View. The good news, the future of wood-burning stoves is uncertain. The bad news, a whole lot of wood is going to be burned in Terre Haute for no reason. From the article headline, Decade of storm damage to be burned in Terre Haute. MSN. Why the future of wood-burning stoves and homes is uncertain. 5 Iowa Cedar Rapids and Marion. RAWSEP View. This could have been avoided by not burning wood to begin with. From the article headline, Firefighters determined Marion fire to be accidental. MSN. Smoke and fire in the kitchen, but the sprinkler system contained it. The building had minor smoke wood for fire pits revealed in the wood U. 6 Maryland. RAWSEP View. This could have been avoided by not burning wood to begin with. From the article headline, Hero son rescues elderly parents from fast-moving Maryland fire. MSN. The fire, caused by combustibles that were in the area of a wood-burning furnace, rapidly spread, but through circumstances surrounding the 88.7 Minnesota, St. Louis County. RAWSEP View. Another Reddit and weep story, except only the plant owner is weeping. Could this mean less wood supply to air-polluting sauna stoves? A crisis for the fad, the fashion, and the folly of indoor residential wood burning. From the article headline, Plant fire hits at peak season. The timber jay. That was enough to get the buildings wood framing burning, and it quickly began to smolder and smoke. Because the fire was within the walls. Tower. It was the worst possible time for a fire at Lampa Manufacturing and Tower. With the heating season here, orders for sauna stoves and wood. 8A New York Utica. RAWSEP View. This could have been avoided by not burning wood to begin with. From the article headline, Local community members rally together to battle huge barn blaze in Remsen. WIBX 950. Simons reports Jones believed the smoke to be coming from the direction of his mother, starting the wood-burning furnace. That is until he realized. 8B New York Westchester County. Westchester County Parks Department issues temporary burn ban for outdoor public spaces. Lowhood. Safely dispose of any charcoal used in a grill or ashes from wood burned in a fireplace. Extinguish cigarettes and other lighted materials safely. 9 Ohio Youngstown. Temporary burn ban in place for Lawrence County. WKBN.com fire chiefs in the county about outdoor burning. Temporary burn ban in place for local county, cleaning up backyard from trash wood and leaves in. 10 Oklahoma Muskogee. RAWSEP View. Indoor residential wood burning increases the risk of dying in a home. And what RAWSEP is concerned with is that indoor residential wood burning increases the risk of dying or adverse health effect of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners. Maintenance of a wood stove only perpetuates the air pollution. Wood burning emits 2.8 times the CO2 and PM2.5 as the fossil fuel coal burning. Wood burning emits 450 times the PM2.5 as the fossil fuel natural gas burning. Wood burning is 90% PM2.5, particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, the perfect size to infiltrate the human lung, setting off a cascade of human health problems and early deaths. From the article headline, Oklahoma Muskogee. Decks, energy efficiency, chimneys get attention for fall season. News, Muskogee Phoenix. The co-owner of Hearth and Pool demonstrates seasonal maintenance on a wood-burning stove. Smoke alarms cut the risk of dying in a home. 11 Washington, Seattle. RAWSEP View. The nicety promulgated by the wood-burning industry of determining whether wood that is burned is wet or dry matters little, because all wood burning emits at least 2.8 times the PM2.5 and CO2 as the fossil fuel coal burning. All wood burning emits at least 450 times the PM2.5 as the fossil fuel natural gas burning. From the article headline, in case you wondered too, fire across Puget Sound. West Seattle block. EPA states that wood smoke is 12 times more toxic than a cigarette. Not double. 12 times obviously trees are wood. And in controlled burns, the wood is not even dried out, so it is even more toxic and smoky. Even a controlled burn is massive air polluting event. 12A India. Indian government doubles fines on stubble burning amid Delhi's air pollution. Shinwanet.com PM2.5 and PM10 in the air, much beyond the safety limits. 1 Indian rupee equals $0.012 US. Indian government doubles fines on stubble. 12B India. CPCB rejects Lancet's air pollution death toll, says extrapolations may not reflect reality. RAWSEP View. The Central Pollution Control Board of India is a statutory organization under the Ministry of Environment, Forest, and Climate Change. Outlook Business. In its reply dated November 4th, the CPCB said the study analyzed the daily average particulate matter PM2.5 concentrations at 1 square. 12C India. Delhi's air quality very poor for 5th day. Min temp 4 notches above normal. Hindustan Times. The wind direction continued to oscillate between southeasterly and westerly. The contribution of stubble burning to Delhi's PM2.5 predominantly. 12D India Delhi. Why no severe air quality days is not the good news Delhi was expecting. The Indian Express. As per an analysis by the Center for Science and Environment CSE, while the peak particulate matter 25 PM2.5 levels have dipped in winter, the 12E India Punjab Haryana. Beyond stubble burning, a broader path to reducing Delhi's pollution. Deccan Herald. Vehicular emissions, construction dust, cola and wood burning for cooking, industrial activities, and stubble burning in Haryana, Punjab. 13 APM 2.5 and age of parent at childbirth. Affect modifications of parents' age at childbirth on association between ambient particulate. BMC Public Health Biomed Central. Satellite-based random forest models were used to estimate the concentrations of PM2.5 particulate matter with aerodynamic diameters less than or equal to 2.5 μm, 13 BPM 2.5 and hospital admissions. Landscape fire PM2.5 and hospital admissions for cause-specific cardiovascular disease in Nature. Of the diverse pollutants originating from landscape fires, fine particulate matter PM2.5 is a major threat. The size of these particles allows them